Wow, what a good turnout. So nice to see everyone here and all your beautiful faces. Miigwech to Mustafa for the introduction, and without further ado, I will introduce myself. Buju, Nigana Mosa and Dishnakars, Gwingawage Dodem, Bakajana Dunjaba, and Nishnabe Kwan Dao. Nin English name, Waabs Altiman. So my name, my spirit name in Anishinaabemowin is the one who walks ahead, and my legal government name is Waabs Altiman. I am Wolverine clan. I am from Walpole Island, also known as, traditionally as Bekedronong, and I'm an Anishinaabe woman of Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi descent. So I just wanted to come here today and talk to you guys about the importance of incorporating decolonization and community building from an Indigenous-based lens into your daily lives, and why that's so important as young people who are striving to make great positive change in their community. So I'm sure, as you all know, the future is in the youth's hands, and it is so important that you guys are here taking the own personal initiative to do things, to do these types of activities yourselves, and it is so wonderful to see you guys doing this. So I am a third-generation residential school survivor. Nina Misho Misba, Janice Altiman, went to Shingwak Residential School. And I'm sure they're teaching a little bit about residential schools, or they're just beginning to in the modern school system. But when I was growing up, they weren't taught in history classes. I grew up on the reserve, so I went to school on my reservation, and the school I went to was classified as an Indian day school up until 2 or 3 years until I was in JK, junior kindergarten. So junior kindergarten is, I'm pretty sure I was 6 years old when I was registered. And that right there should give you kind of an idea of how close this history is to just today, where we are today. I'm sure a lot of you may know, or I hope most of you know, that residential schools were only shut down in the late 1990s. My grandfather was in the residential school system from the age of 6 until 16. So that's 10 years of his youth that he was being forced, being abused, being forced to learn English, being forced to, forget his culture. And the mere fact that I'm standing here today, along with the rest of my community, along with the rest of Canada, the Indigenous people in Canada, the mere fact that we're here today is an achievement and an act of defiance in and of itself, because the goal that the government gave was to erase Indigenous people in the name of capitalism. They wanted to extract our land and resources and use that for capital gain. They wanted to make money off of it. And so the reason they erected the residential school system was to get rid of us, and that was the goal. So about, I would say, 4 years ago is when I finally kind of had an epiphany, and I came to realize what I wanted to do with my life and what my passion is. And that is, at the moment, language revitalization. So I realized that I want to help my people reclaim, repatriate, regain what was stripped away from us, what was ripped from us, because I have my nieces and nephews that I have nieces that are younger than me, and obviously, and I don't want to see that intergenerational trauma of having our language and culture taken from us, passed on to them, because I know that when I was growing up, I didn't feel connected to my identity as an Anishinaabe, as an Indigenous woman. Our culture and language in my community wasn't very talked about or acknowledged at the time because of that trickling residential school trauma that our survivors of the community experienced. They didn't share that with their children, which would be my parents. So we weren't taught those things, and it was almost hushed. And I came to realize that I want to be a part of this resurgence. I want to be a part of this, revolution that is the re-indigenization of Canada. I want to help, at least on a personal level, my own community escape the chains of intergenerational trauma and help my people in the best way that I can become reconnected with spirit, with our creator, with the ancestors, because that is what I just feel like my life path is. So a big part of language revitalization is coming into who you are, and it's so different when you start to reconnect with your culture, and just seeing the varying differences between traditional Anishinaabe ways of life, worldviews, and modern societies' worldviews is so different. Our values, beliefs, and worldviews are so deeply embedded in our language that once you start to understand the words and what they mean, it becomes, your mind starts to shift. And ever since I started in a Anishinaabe adult immersion program about 2 months ago, and ever since I've started relearning my traditional language little by little, I've started becoming and feeling more whole. And I really want to urge to everyone, in this room, in this community, in Ontario, wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening from, wherever you're from, I really want you to urge to do your education on Indigenous cultures and languages from the area. So this land is traditional to the Mississaugas of the Credit, who are Anishinaabe people. And if you took the time to learn about who they are, what they speak, how they saw the world, you too would be able to start shifting towards seeing in that way. So, and I think you may know, but Indigenous people, our traditional way of thinking, we were always on the lowest of the chain. The Creator put us last on this earth, after everything else, after the plants, after the animals, after the water, after everything. Humans were put on this earth last, and therefore everything else was, not the rulers, but they were the original things of this land. And we knew that, we respected that. We did not extract resources more than what we needed. We left everything the way it was. And I think that is something that current society really needs to get back to. The state of the world and the state of Canada right now is very, alarming. Climate change is very, very, very scary situation right now. And I feel as if in order to reverse that, Indigenous people need to start being recognized and acknowledged and consulted more when things concerning the environment and anything else are being looked upon, so especially Indigenous issues. And I think a big part of you guys being able to do that and to help with that is, researching what issues regarding what communities near here are happening at this moment, spreading awareness on social media, attending, workshops about awareness about issues like that, attending rallies, talking to your parents about what is going on, and making sure that you're spreading awareness as much as possible. For Indigenous people, we really, really relied on each other, on community, to be able to survive, because before colonization happened to this land, Canada was obviously just pure wilderness. But somehow Indigenous people survived for thousands and thousands of years, since time immemorial. And that wasn't because of just one single thing. We all had to work together. There are so many ways that we had to help each other. We hunted together for sustenance. We would fish together. We would embark on trade routes throughout the Great Lakes just to work back and forth with fellow nations in order to trade and, make sure that we all had sustenance. And that is something that I see it's very lost in this day and age. Everything is so individualistic, and that is very sad, unfortunately, because without each other, we are nothing. And that's why community is so important. But obviously, barriers to community exist in this day and age as well. In my community, we struggle with addiction. There's lots of substance abuse. There's houselessness. There's, across the nation, there's high incarceration rates of Indigenous people. And in order to change that, that is where you guys come in. Once you put your voice out there and start speaking up against all the injustices done to Indigenous people, done to, everyone who's a minority, that's when things can start to change. And going out and engaging with people like at activities like these with like-minded youth, that is where you meet people who you can band together with. And that is when you can, start lobbying and urging the political structures of, the province at a federal level. That's when you can start making a change, is when you band together. And I think events like these are so important because personally, it just shows that there's hope. I don't often leave my community. I'm just a res girl trying to make it in this world. And seeing things like these just makes me hopeful. In my community, I'm on the youth council, and we are currently just aiming to, like I mentioned, engage youth our age, like you guys, in the culture, in the language, but it's a fight every day because of how disconnected we have become from colonization. And that's why I think it's so important to start, reconnecting to the land, reconnecting to the water, reconnecting to everything. That could just be taking a walk in the bush. That could just be going and talking to the water for a few minutes every day. That could be giving thanks in your own way to whatever you believe in. It's just all about, community starts with yourself, and for Indigenous people, community also starts with reconnecting with the land, We believe that the animals and plants, the land, the water are our relatives first and foremost. And in order to build a strong community, you have to start with that and those relatives, because all over at the end of the day, they're still gonna be here after humans are gone. And once we're gone, they're gonna just keep on surviving. So we need to re-strengthen that relationship first and foremost. And it's so good to see you guys here. I mean, I'm really hopeful for the future that soon, Indigenous people and the rest of Canada can work together in a good, mindful, a good way. Something that I strive to live towards is what Anishinaabe call Minobamadzwin, which is the good life, and that encompasses everything: mind, body, spirit, and heart. And I really urge you guys to live Minobamadzwin, live a good life in your own way. And like I mentioned, taking that initiative to research about what Indigenous issues are going on right now, living mindfully, because once Indigenous people once everyone is gone, there's going to be nothing left to salvage. So we need to start working towards stopping that now. I really, really strongly urge you guys to, start lobbying together, banding together, and once we do that, we can make a change. So I just wanted to end my message with thanking you guys for coming out today. And I'm really, really glad to see everyone here and to having you guys listen to my message, even just for this little bit. This opportunity is so heartwarming, and it's just awesome to see everyone here. So with that, I would like to say miigwech and bama piminwa.